Hi folks, and welcome to the Filmroom channel. I'm in the frozen woods again, and today I want to try, as I might, to prepare this little guy here. And what this is Fumus fomentarius, the horsehoof fungus, or the tinder conch. And I think that preparing tinder or preparing amadou is a really essential technique you can master in the forest. And not that I were a master in doing so, but practice makes perfect. This one is halfway frozen, and well, it's gonna hurt because I will not take a big survival or bushcraft knife to process it, but I want to see whether or not I can put a slate knife to use and do sort of a review in the process. I don't know, heads nor tails, whether or not this will work out, but this guy here is a hero slate or a carving knife, because it's not a Japanese thing, I think, to call it a slate knife, because it's just a crafts knife. Also, I will show you a little bit of the contents of my tool roll. And when I want to process the conch, and I do not know how it will turn out, because each conch is different to the other, and so this is it might not work out, and so stay tuned. The first thing I want to do is I want to remove the edge of the conch, and what you can see here is you get several layers, and this is the porous part where the spores are, and this is the trama. This is the skin of the conch, and we need to get rid of that before we do anything else. And I'm actually I think this is really a tough test for any knife, because the skin of the conch is really tough, and actually this is also halfway frozen, but this is working far better than any thick survival knife. In Romania, when they process the conch, which they still do on a pretty regular basis, I think it is they even make bags and hats and what have you from the amadou. And well, amadou is a pretty awesome material for that, because it is really a nice and soft material, and it feels a little bit like leather, only that it isn't. And don't fall for it. I made myself a pouch, and I really wore it on a daily basis around my neck, because I put my carving Victorinox in it, and I always carried it when I was out in the woods for pretty the most part of a year, and with all the sweat and well, sweat is sort of acidic, and that really weakened the material, and you don't get that a lot with leather. Eventually the pouch simply failed, and which was a shame, because I actually think that things like the Amadou or the Kong as such are a really valuable gift, and I do not think it's a single use and throw away item, and so that was a shame, and but it's and due to the blade being really thin and also pretty sharp, which the blade is made from A2, by the way, and tempered to a Rockwell hardness of 63 HSC. This is working far better than any survival knife for stuff like this. And you want, even if you bring your thick and your thick bushcraft or survival knife, you might want to consider to add something like this. A Mora also works, a cinch. That's the reason I really like knives like the Kansbol or the Classic for things like this. The Mora, because they are pretty thin and slicey, but on the other hand, a nice compromise in ruggedness and stability. But this works even better than the aforementioned knives, and I will process this here mushroom for tinder, so it isn't that necessary that you do a really precise job, but you want to keep as much of the trauma as possible. So don't cut away too much of the trauma, and wow, that's lovely. If you and keep in mind, the conch is actually halfway frozen, and so that's pretty much of a challenge for a knife, for any knife. In Romania, they often use a sickle for that, because it is rather thin and slicey, and and if you can break apart the porous material a little bit, or try, in order to facilitate removing the trauma, or at least get a start. And if you're cutting towards yourself, remember to lock your elbows to your sides. Essentially, this is a little bit of fiddly endeavor, because on the one hand you need to find where the trauma is, and you want to remove all the porous material. This is still this is still porous, and if you broke apart the material, you might be able to get behind it And if you got to start from where to go on, and well, it's not the best Kong 2, you might be able to get some skinning motion going on, and so you don't need to use a lot of force, because using a lot of force on stuff like this is well, it's a little dangerous, but sometimes it's necessary. But you want to be extra careful, because the trauma on this one, especially, is rather thin, and you can see what happens if I'm. It's already damaged, and you don't want this. This is rather thin, as I said, and it doesn't help that it's also frozen, and you need to be extra careful with that. And a lot of times you see people just cutting it into cubes or something, and don't do this. Because remember, it's a gift, and it's a really valuable material, so you might want to take your time. The good thing about that is also that it preserves your energy, and in a situation where you would need Amadou, well, obviously in a survival situation, I don't think that you should waste your energy doing something like this, because it's a sort of experimental archaeology. It's not a survival technique, because it's far too complicated and costs a lot of material, a lot of energy, and so what you want is, in a survival situation, you want something that gets going fast, and that isn't as complicated as creating Amadou from scratch. And but it's a nice bushcraft project. It's something that, in my opinion, it is a great thing if you can understand where the people were coming from back in the day. You can actually value what you have more, and it's people back in the day, well, even to get started with something like this costs a lot of time and energy, and I think that helps us nowadays to understand, because we are in a desperate need of more understanding, and the processes, and we have been, or we are, that's a postulate, if I would say that we are disconnected from a lot of processes, and if mankind is to continue, we need to find a way how we can exist in and with nature, and well, and in order to do this, we need to understand, and we need to connect again, and need to connect with nature. We need to connect with our fellow human beings, and we need to well, you need to make it work, because we are on a ball of rock, hurling headlong through a lot of nothing at all, and well, it's as if we were on a ship, and for better or for worse, and we needed. We're on a travel, and we simply need to make do for a long period of time, for extended periods of time, and only that we don't. And I think that's a challenge humanity is faced with at the moment. We don't understand. We don't have the understanding of nature because we are disconnected from it. We don't have an understanding of our fellow cultures, or even indigenous cultures, which is something, well, as I said, we need to make do and together, and we need to, in order to do that, we need to understand the resources, and because we don't understand the resources, we tend to waste them, and we tend to believe that all you have to do is going to the groceries or the hardware store in order to, well, buy some rare earth or something, but that's not how it works, and that's a problem, because we waste resources, and we don't think resource efficiently. And please take note, the pieces I cut off, I can use for tea, and I can actually make a really immune stimulant tea from what I cut off. So I don't need to waste anything. I just need to know. I need to have the knowledge to be able to process the stuff, to see the stuff, and this is working on the small scale that's concerning me as a person, but it's also working on a larger and a global scale, and that is something I find really important. And if you get my meaning, and for stuff like that, to reconnect with materials and the world, making something like this is something I can only recommend, because a lot of times we feel helpless and we feel disempowered, or and well, that's on purpose. We are it's a method of control we are subjected to, and I do not even think that this is something that is made deliberately, but it is. Everyone's afraid, including our leaders, and our leaders are afraid that if we don't grow constantly and infinitely, we will not be capable of survival. But that simply isn't true, and it wasn't true for 10,000s of years, because mankind, or our predecessors, have thrived for 10,000s or even 100,000s of years, and without infinite growth. And that's it's not that simple either. It's not that we do have a lot of wealth, and we do have a lot of innovations. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to live in the Stone Age or something. It's sometimes it's nice to imagine you were some sort of a caveman and reviled yourself a little bit in the process. But actually, I also love my creature comforts. And it's never what I'm saying. It's not that I'm saying we should dismiss everything we have altogether. But if you know how to live in the Stone Age or something, or at least you understand the processes, you will ultimately enhance the quality of your everyday life, because you can make do with less, and especially with less waste. And if you waste less, you need to buy less, and resulting in more cost efficiency. And not that, and you also understand that maybe it's not always about the money, but actually I got the permission to use this, and this is protected by conservation laws in Germany. But I've got permission, and please don't just take any old mushroom. And if you get yourself some information on whether or not it is liable and forage responsibly. I could have easily taken the biggest one there is, but the biggest ones there are also the ones that are most beneficial for the ecosystem, and they have been there for years and years. So I don't want to take those. Forage responsibly is what I want to say. Foraging isn't causing the ecosystem to collapse, as opposed to what people want to make you believe it at the moment. But you need to be responsible. Take 1/3. 1/3 is for nature, 1/3 is for you, and 1/3 is for other forages. And well, this material is actually pretty crappy, so it will just be. What you want to do when you're processing Amadou is you want to really get to the golden brown stuff, and these dark colored pieces must come off, because they are still the porous part, and you need a little bit of patience. And also it's a little bit like cutting with a grain and stuff. And I hope it comes across that it's pretty much of a challenge to get it right. In a pinch, you could already process this, but it won't work as well. And there is a right way to do it, and it's not rocket science. It's just clean work in each step of the process. This one will maybe break on me because it's pretty brittle, and it's not the best quality there is. If you've come across one that is really that color and has a rather thick trauma, you will be able to get along with a pretty small one to create a huge piece of Amadou, and I really hope that I can show you what happens with this one, because I'm not convinced of that it will work out. And just cut away all the dark, or as much of the dark stuff as possible, because this is rather stiff and brittle, and you want to cut down to the golden brown stuff, as I said. And you see me, there's a stump here, and I put that on the stump, and I cut away on the material like I would with flashing a hide or something, when I were preparing the hide for flashing or something. This is even more delicate than a leather hide would ever be, because, well, it's no leather, obviously, and it has a different structure. And you can see there is this ring, and this is in analogy to the growth ring of the fungus, and so I'm left with even less material, like so. This is still pretty thick, and I will try as I might to remove all the dark stuff, and then I will give it a nice whacking. And it takes some time, but as I said, I think if you really take your time processing it, this will pay off. And you can see the line there, and this is the part where it might come apart, and you can, in order to remove the material, the dark stuff, you can fold it back onto itself, and break up the stiff and brittle part. And what you can see is this golden stuff underneath. This is what we are aiming for, and you can also already see the trauma on this mushroom is really thin. Typically, this is the case with Amadou that is growing on low elevations. The higher the elevation is, the more probable is that you will get something that is really nice. But since I will use this for fire lighting, there's no big harm done if it's still a little thicker, and a little bit of the brown stuff. Not that I would recommend leaving all of it on, but cutting away a little bit more, and if there's still a little bit left, I don't think that will be a big problem. But there's sort of a rule of thumb that you can follow, that if you can move it, and it feels a little bit gummy or elastic already, you are nearing if it gets more flexible and pliable and stuff, this is what you are aiming for. And but still. And this is why I recommend you use a pretty thin knife, because that lends itself to far better precision when cutting. And or get a sickle, and you can feel if you get to the light golden stuff, golden brown stuff, you feel that it really gets flexible. And now I get myself a stick, and I'm lightly whacking the material on a surface. Don't put a lot of force and effort into it, because use a lot of light taps and lighter hits. You might also want to round off the edges of the branch you are using, and you can already see that this is a little bit more flexible. But this is really crappy material. Think this, and then you can move it. You can you can go like so and move it, and need to check in between. Also, you need to modify your tapping, and the force of your tapping. But actually, you need to be really careful not to overdo it, because it's where's this other piece? There it is. This is better actually, because what you can see is that this is, if you move it like so, just a little, and you can see that how little there was in this mushroom, and you can stretch this. And if you do so, just tapping a little bit, and the more flexible it already is, the lighter you need you can tap it. And so, and now you can move it like so, and you will be it will become a little bit longer. Or just be careful, just feel how it how the material is going all of the time. Constantly feel like how it's going, how it feels. And this is well, maybe I can see you what happens. It's really, it is a lousy material. I mean, if the peasant can't swim, it's always the swimming trunks. But you know, you can see that this is widening if I tear this a little bit. Don't tear it apart, because it's really delicate. And if you can get a bigger trama, you might want to do it. And you see, this is how delicate this is. You need to constantly check what where it is going, or what it is doing. This will actually work for starting a fire, or this one here. And but it's crap for it would be crap for making a pouch or something. That's not going to work. For making a pouch, you really need a really great piece of trama, and you see that tears out, and I will take those home and make tea from that, because that's the good thing about the Amadou, that you can really put it to a lot of uses. And this one is great for fire starting because it's nice, pliable and soft. It's not a big piece, but it will carry a spark. So I just show you again, and you can see I didn't cut away all of the brown stuff, but you should, because this hinders the pliability of the material, and this is just you'll see, it is really flexible, and this is what you're looking for. This is what you're this is the Amadou you are you can actually process. If it is really brittle like the other part, that's not going to work. That's not Amadou. That's just a piece of of Tinderkonk. And Amadou is the material that you can really work, and it is really lovely to feel. It's really soft. It's really even softer than this chamois leather or something, and it is really lovely. And also I love doing this beside the campfire. If you're sitting beside the campfire and you want something to do, I like to on the one hand I like to make cordage or whittle away a little bit, but this is also a pastine that you can do, and you can see it's double the length already. And this is why people can make hats from it, because they stretch the material. And as I said, I have to emphasize that you really need to cut away all the brown material, and you need a decent piece. And you see, that's not a great drama, but I will take those with me. It's not going to waste. And well, and I hope I could show you the principle. I can make a video about how a big piece of Amadou looks like, and how a decent piece of Amadou looks like. I can show you in another video. Not that this was a complete failure. It's not that nature. That's how nature is. That's how nature works, and it's not always perfect, because you actually that's what I wanted to say. It's not like you went to the groceries and or the hardware store and you bought yourself some Amadou. It's something you need to really work on. And one of the things why I'm constantly ranting about survival knives and survival mindset and what have you, and actually I admit that it was a little bit of a provocation that I use this slate and carving knife for a genuinely bushcrafty task, is that I want to offer a different perspective on survival knives or bushcraft knives. And what I want to say is, take what works, and don't get intimidated by what you see on the internet. And if you got a sickle at hand, well, that's the way they do it in Romania. They use an axe to chop off the conch from the tree, and they process the Amadou with a sickle. They cut away along the rings, and because the sickle is really thin and slicey, and this knife also is. And if you if you can use it for processing Amadou, which is really hard on your edge and really tough on on your knife, because you also lever something a little, and lever out the porous part, and it's a cut, then that's a knife that's working. If a knife cuts, it's working. And not tiring to say that. The best compromise is some sort of a Mora or another Puko or something, but don't fall for the heebie-jeebie Gubalaba next ultimate survival knife thing, because I don't think that that it is absolutely necessary to get yourself some tactical survival knife in order to get out into the woods and craft something. And you know, this knife costs 23.4 euros, and that's something that people can afford, and not that you couldn't get yourself a little bit something longer or something, because the length would add more versatility to your knife. And not what I'm saying, but typically this is what you can get, and also it's not freaking people out, and because this is a carving knife, and it, people, even the people most removed from reality will acknowledge that this is a craft knife, and because it looks like a craft knife, because it is a craft knife. It's not, and you want it. That's also something. I assume that you want to use your knife for crafting and for snacking or for food prep, and that's perfectly okay. That's not something that you. By the way, this is my tool roll. I use this for professional carving, so this is and it gets snowed on, so I will need to take it apart at home, and put some oil on all the tools, because they are all not stain resistant and not rust resistant. But that's also something I enjoy doing, because it's calming to my mind. It's just something I enjoy, and well, I will make a video about my tool roll on another occasion, because I really need to put it away now. What can I say about the knife? The knife is honestly a really great buy, a really bargain, and value for money. I needed to modify the grind a little bit. I put on sort of a secondary bevel, because it is really hard and edge resistant. You can work with the hardest woods imaginable, but it also is a bit prone to chipping if you buy it new. And it's for softwood, it's really great. It's perfectly okay and great. But if you want to use it in stuff like I just did, you want to put a tiniest of secondary bevel on it, and you will be perfectly fine. And still shaving sharp, still awesome, and still able to. You have seen me cutting through the frozen oak here with no problems at all. So huge recommendation. I got mine via Dictum in Germany, but there are also other corporations you can buy them from. Hero is the corporation. It's a Japanese corporation, and maybe for some of you this might be an addition to your toolkit. I would not say it's a substitute for a Mora 106 or Mora 120, 122 or something. because the Moras are far more versatile. And this one is a really specialized knife for really precise cuts, for really precise work. And the Moras also excel in an outdoor setting. And if you want to want a knife for outdoor use, for slate in nature, maybe that's better for you to invest in a Mora. This one is a workshop knife. This is a knife that's pretty great for your workshop, and as an addition to what you already have. This is really great for precise cutting in really hard woods like oak and like pear wood or plum wood or blackthorn, something. By the way, this is the blackthorn stick I'm actually have been working on and off for some time now. But it's already pretty much there. I want to add some carvings, but I haven't yet made up my mind what to put on there. So I'm not yet there. But what I want to say is, actually, I think I made my point, because I have for a long time I have really questioned my abilities when I was in the woods crafting, and I had always not the biggest survival knives, not don't get me wrong, but I tried to do crafting in the woods with a hunting knife, and well, it's not going to work. And if it's not, at least it's not going to work as well as if you were to use a Pukor or a Mora or something like this, because this is specialized for carving, for crafting, and since this is what I do in the woods for the most. I think this is something. I think that a lot of people get a little bit frustrated around carving, because in the woods, or I really wondered how these guys always get these lovely feather sticks, and that has been for years, and I was always like, well, how do they do this? I'm all crap at this, and I was questioning myself a lot. And then I got myself a Mora, the garbage, in fact, and it just sailed through the wood, and it made really fine shavings, and because it's not rocket science, it's just that there is another angle to the edge, and I was always, for instance, I was always dismissing the humble Victorinox knife, and it's always on me and stuff, and this is one of the best knives to start a fire that I know. If you want to create fine locks and shavings, you see, it just sinks through the wood. It's just, and this is, I'm not tiring to say that, and maybe it's getting on your nerves, and well, if you need to chop down a tree, maybe I'm pissing some of you off by saying that. Why do you need to use a knife? Get yourself an axe or a saw, and well, exceptions notwithstanding, I like my cookery, and but if a knife that is on you excels at battening and chopping, but not at cutting, and most of the things you do is cutting. If most of the things you do is battening and chopping, and you insist on using a knife because it's fun or what have you, that's not a criticism. But I just think that a lot of people are similar to myself, in that they really get frustrated because they don't they question themselves because it's not working out, and because they fall for the hype on the internet, and all these survival guys and stuff, and really opened my eyes. And I'm not tiring to say that there's this video on the on YouTube here, which is called Pukkoloja Kirvele, and which is a museum video. I cannot recommend you watch this enough, because this is a museum video that was filmed in, I think, in the beginning of the 20th century in Finland, and they filmed these old Yetkan, who with an axe and a pukko created, and a saw, and just with these three tools they were able to build a house, which is a commonplace because a lot of old cabins in Finland have been built that way by the Yetkan, and it really opened my eyes as to what bushcraft and survival is actually about. It's not that Rambo mythology, and I fell for that myself. When I was a kid, I absolutely needed such a Rambo knife, survival knife, or what have you. And then it was the Rüdiger Neberg craze, and I needed a Glock, and I never got one, and I really, really wanted it. And it turns out that the Glock isn't the worst knife you can buy for bushcraft tasks, but it's also, had I bought Vic, or used the Vic that was actually on me since I was, I think, 4. I don't have a lot of memory about that. But I think I got it at the age of 4, and was a Wenger compact. I still have it, and still a treasured possession of mine. And this worked perfectly fine for me, actually. But only I didn't want to admit it because I was craving that Rambo knife so much, because, well, we fell for that. And I think that this has led to us getting it all back to front, and also this tracker craze, and well, personally I do think that you can't go far amiss with a pukko or something, and we need to admit what works and what doesn't, even if marketing people on the webs tell us otherwise. Because, well, I worked in marketing myself. I try to keep it honest, but not all people do. And the thing is, if you do sensible marketing, you just advertise what the goods you want to advertise actually do, and but you can also simply lie about what these things are doing. And these wild shrapnels that you can buy and what have you, and what's it doing? That's the question, and that's not a criticism. It's just a question that we must answer ourselves, what is it that the knife will do, and what do we want to do with it? And if I look at the tracker, well, it might be a great one tool option. But I haven't tried it out yet. So let's be fair. It's not that I want to say that it is absolute crap. And if you enjoy it, and if it floats your boat, fire away, go nuts. It's not that I want to bash the design, but I doubt that it would suit my needs, because as I told you what my need is, and these are I know that myself. Sometimes you really want to reinvent the wheel, and I forged my knives myself that look like shrapnels. I put in something like an argon accumulator into the handle of a knife, which I could take with a grain of salt even back then. And there's way back down in my on my channel, there's this video where from a friend of mine, and I did an experiment with static electricity, which honestly possibly is what I did on the knife handle too. And I experimented with different geometries, and I experimented with duplex grinds and what have you, and it looks cool. It's really great, and actually it's sometimes it even hints of doing doing some things better. And if you look at a cookery, traditional cookeries also have sort of a duplex grind or something, even triplex grind, or it's on some local. You get that you get a flatter angle towards the handle, and a little bit of more of a robust geometry towards the tip. And not bashing that. I'm not what I want to say, but if you look at the tracker design, it's a rather short knife that tries to be an axe as well as a carving knife. And I think that that sickle edge might be beneficial for skinning, or for making fine shavings for feather sticks, or and it's might make it easier to make some feather sticks or something. And but on the other hand, well, this will do that too, and it's not a substitute for an axe. But if you get a sensible diameter, there's a saw. And the rule of thumb is, if it's more than 6 centimeters, use a saw. And this will even cut through almost double the length of the saw, the diameter, double the length of the saw. I tried that. And I even took the time. I really made. I put a cold steel SRK against this one, or similar model, and I was stopping the time, and I was taking the time, and this one was faster carving a spoon than the SRK, and this included whittling 2 gluts to split the wood. So essentially I made a spoon and 2 gluts, in the same time that I needed to take the SRK to chop the wood and split batten through the wood and carve the spoon. Maybe because I use this more frequently than the SRK, and I'm more accustomed to use this for delicate carving than I do on the SRK. Maybe that's a factor too. But even if you take that into account, it was almost 20 seconds faster than the SRK, and I don't think that's too much. That much of a difference is just due to me being more accustomed to this little fellow here. And this is what I want to say. It's just take what works. If the SRK or a tracker or what have you works better for you, take that knife by all means. That's not what I'm saying. It's but if you don't fall for all the hype, take the knife that works. And more often than not, the knives that have been time tested and time proven are time tested and time proven for a reason. And Pukot or Lakut or, well, by all means, the Kukuri. And you can only do so much to reinvent the wheel, and it's and I'm always I find it always a little bit dubious if someone claims this is the ultimate survival tool, the ultimate survival knives, the ultimate, and nothing else will come after that. Nope. And if you see as a historical there are several finds from the Roman Empire, some chopping knives and copies or something that look pretty similar to a tracker design, and well, it wasn't established widely, but people really came to pretty simple shapes because they are most versatile. Not because they didn't, these specialized designs didn't work in a specialized setting, but because they were not as versatile. If you want to, I know that's the wet blanket, but if you want to cut a loaf of bread with a tracker, you will actually mutilate it. No, that's not the bread knife, I know, but this is I do cut bread more often than I chop down whole trees, and so I will rather choose my knife for cutting bread and preparing food and carving than I would, well, for a tactical setting. This is what I want to say, and I rant about that a lot of the time, and you know me already, so I think you can skip what's coming after the actual video, but I get a lot of people coming to my courses with knives that aren't suited for the tasks at hand, and because they really believe that's necessary. It's necessary to get a tracker knife or get a tactical knife or, well, survival knife, or and if you are if you're a survivalist who has also a hunting license or something, and a lot of what you do is also skinning or preparing game, and your knife will look different than for someone like me who's a whittler. Actually, I'm just a fat guy hiking through the woods, enjoying the scenery and whittling little projects. And so this would be a different knife for you than it were for me. And that's not something I want to emphasize. It's not about that I got the ultimate truth. I was just want to say, well, I don't have the ultimate truth. Don't fall for what I say. Don't fall for what people say. But maybe a humble slate knife will enhance your bushcrafting also. You could use this for a skinning game also, and maybe even better than if you had a tracker knife on you. And so if you want to get started, get yourself a Vic. Get to know this, get to know your knife, get to know what it does and what it doesn't. And if you absolutely need what it doesn't do, then buy yourself a knife for that what your Vic doesn't do. But keep your Vic, because it's already doing what a lot of stuff that you want it to do. So that's, and actually I find, because I get that a lot. I actually encounter that a lot, and that's the reason why I don't stop ranting about that on the webs, because it's just, well, it's I can't understand, because we are so and this is what I wanted to show with processing the Amadou, by the way, too. We are disconnected, and we are disconnected even from our own needs, and we need some advertising in order to find out what we want or don't want. And I think that we need to well, get away from that a little bit. It's perfectly okay. That's not I'm not speaking from a moral position. It's just that I'm wondering why people don't do the step from, well, this is what I want to do, this is what I need for in a tool or what have you. It's also the same with mountain bikes or something. I worked as a mountain bike mechanic for several years, and it was a constant sense of wonder to me that people bought big fat downhill bikes, especially the kids, and I was training the kids on local rides and what have you, and well, and they wanted to go for a longer ride, and they showed up with a huge and heavy free rider and didn't do free riding. They just wanted to tootle around the block and well, ride through the forest and have a little bit of fun. Those who really were into free riding, no harm done. That's but those often were on some cross country bikes and were crashing hard because of that, and because the bikes just gave away. And you know, and this I don't get that. And actually, I needed my time too, and this is what I encountered with my current ride, which is absolutely working a cinch. I still enjoy it, and it's a really, really great bike, because it's, for the first time, it's a bike that is catering absolutely and exclusively to what I want, and this is tootling around and just doing a nice ride, enjoying the scenery, and actually maybe I needed all the other stuff in order to realize what I wanted. And you know, this is what I want to. This is why I'm not talking from a moral position or what that I want to bash that. I just want to share my experience with you, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did. And the same goes for knives. And if you, as I said, if you absolutely need a sword of a knife for carving a little wood spirit, then fire away, go nuts. Not what I'm saying. But I think that sometimes less is more, and that you can enjoy yourself more. This is what I want to say. Because it's most of us don't get paid for that, and then actually I really appreciate people tagging me and that's, but I don't want to be really famous. I just like to have a small community, and maybe I maybe even meet you in person, and pretty stoked that that Ulfgard actually is Vida Wolf is actually around the corner, and maybe we can meet one time or another, maybe on an event or something. I don't know, but I would love that, because, and this is what I want with this channel, and selling knives and stuff, and this is something I need to emphasize, Dong, and I did that, and it doesn't pay, and I'm really stoked that you really think my work is so valuable to you, and that you really wanted to buy something from me. And maybe if I can reliably fire up the forge, maybe I will make something to sell on a lower basis. But I tried, and I worked in business promotion for 12 years, and I no longer do, because I got several burnouts and got a rider kicking up the spine, and well, enough said. But if someone like me were coming to my office and asking for business advice with a business model like I would have if I did that, well, I would strongly advise, at least at the current situation of the local market, to do this, because you can't make a living from selling knives in Germany. That's not going to work. It's pretty hard as is selling experiences, as I do at the moment, and I'm currently, that's the reason why I'm in a really crappy situation, because people, what is it that people do if they like the money? What do you think? Where they save? Do they postpone the rent or the grocery price, the grocery money or something? No, they don't. They cut down on experiences, on holidays, on on nice stuff they don't need. And you don't need nice stuff when you're going hungry, and you need food. This is what's happening, and so I don't think that will work out. So, but what I want to say is, I want to contribute to people's experience anyway, especially in these times. And if I need a real job in order to make a living from that, and put on and give people a little bit of an experience, and maybe you're just entertaining, maybe you just want to see a funny and pretty ugly guy standing in the snowy forest talking a huge pile of shit, and get entertained by that, and life is crappy enough as is, then I would be glad, and that's about it. And I think there's no problem at all if this would be all there is. Um, and I think so. I'm on one hand, I'm really stoked, and I really love you guys. It's really not really appreciating you guys being around. And small community is better than a big one, and everything that grows fast is cancer. And you know, well, now I lost my thread. But what I wanted to show you is that you can make do, that you can be resilient. And I think this channel is a lot about my own resilience, but I hope to contribute to your resilience as well, because I want to show you that there's a lot of stuff you can do for if you have little provisions. And being poor is well, on your poverty is something that someone said to me, and well, you can make a pouch from a mushroom, and I hope that we'll come across some better material in order to be able to show you how to do this from start to finish soon. As is, I hope you enjoy my channel, and I thank you for being around. Thanks for being here and commenting, and even if you have a criticism, especially if you have a criticism, and you want to point out something that I completely messed up, or in your opinion, let's talk about that, because this is really important for me to get better with what I do. And thank you for all the comments, and feel free to ask. I have limited access to the internet at the moment, so don't be angry with me if I'm not replying immediately, or maybe lag behind watching your channels. That's not out of bad intent, but because I have a lot of challenges at the moment in my everyday life, and the channel is something more of a hobby activity at the moment. So don't get mad at me if I'm not keeping up so much. I really love to binge all your content, because you do great content, and it's a privilege that you guys are around here, and is what I want to say. Thank you. And in that context, I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay sane and healthy as usual, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.